If you love high-end home decor like I do, but on a budget, then keep on watching because today I'm sharing easy, budget-friendly ways to get that designer look for so much less. My mom gave me this decorative wooden fence when she was moving, and it took me a while to figure out what to do with it. The current design isn't exactly my style. It feels very Italian Tuscan villa, which isn't the look I'm going for in my home. It had these brackets on the back to keep it standing upright that don't even touch the ground, so they're pretty useless. I guess I could have taken them off and put them back on a little bit lower, but I decided just to remove them. Then I sanded down the wood to a smooth finish to give it a clean base coat of white paint. Chinoiserie prints have been popular for a little while now, especially in that blue and white pattern. I decoupaged a vase with a brown and white chinoiserie print a while back, and I love it so much. You'll see it pop up again in a little bit in this video, but I had also purchased a blue tissue paper version from Amazon to cover this fence with. And I actually did the fence first, but I didn't have a video theme that it fit into, so here we are about 10 months later that I finally found a video that it worked with. You typically see this type of pattern on vases or plants, curtains, and other textiles, but this little decor fence brings the print to life in a new way. I decoupaged the tissue paper all over the fence panels, including all of the sides. This took me quite a while to do, and I lined up the pattern sheets for a seamless design. Once it was all covered, I was able to fold the paper back where those two sheets would meet, and I sanded the seam off so that you can't even tell this is multiple sheets of tissue paper. I added one more layer of liquid patina, or you can use your choice of decoupage glue to seal it all in, and that's it. Super simple and an elegant way to add a backdrop of character like I did for my plants to stand out in front of. Along the same lines as the blue and white chinoiserie patterns trending, plate walls are coming back around as well. For a long time, everyone was doing basket walls for that boho Scandinavian look, and now I'm seeing more and more plate walls resurrected from the past. I personally love this look, but of course I want to put my own twist on it. My mother-in-law has had Norman Rockwell plates on her living room walls for at least 50 years. I saw Actually Allie here on YouTube draw a sketch of her home on a plate, and I thought that was the most precious idea to commemorate the place that we spend so much of our lives. Especially if you move, you will always have that memory to take with you. Now, to get the sketch of my homes that I wanted to draw, I uploaded a photo into ChatGPT and I prompted it to create a coloring book style line drawing. From there, you can ask for less or more detail depending on how it turns out. With the images on such a small surface, I didn't want there to be too much detail to where it would be hard to tell what's going on. So with my sketches in hand, I headed off to the thrift store to see if I could find white plates to use, and I wanted plates with a little bit more detail to them, like a scalloped edge or something like that, and lo and behold, I found the perfect option for $2 a plate. There were 5 plates in total, but I'd only picked up 3 of them and wish I had gotten all 5 looking back. Anyways, now for the fun part. I don't have graphite paper, so to transfer the print images onto my plate, I covered the back of the page with pencil lead, and this works the exact same way. Then I taped the paper down so it doesn't move around on me, and I traced the lines that I wanted. I didn't trace every single line, but I gave myself enough to go off of. And then I used these porcelain pens to retrace over my lines and add the color. These pens come in several different colors, so if blue isn't your vibe, you could choose something else, and they also come in different tips for adding finer details. I started out using the fine tip, and then I went back over certain areas with the bullet tip to help them stand out a little bit more. This was such a relaxing project to do. And the best part is, if you make a mistake, you can easily wipe it away and start over. Rubbing alcohol worked the best to clean up areas that I didn't love, and once your design is perfect or perfect to you, stick it in the oven to lock it in permanently. I'm on the hunt for an actual plate rack to hang these on my wall. It is going to look so good against this rich burgundy color that I just painted. When going to the thrift store, I always have a list of things that I'm looking for, and a small desk lamp was one of those items. I loved the natural wood look of this small lamp, but it didn't come with a shade on it, so I picked up this brown textured Empire lampshade from Hobby Lobby that fits the vibe that I wanted so well. Just look at how cute this is. And I took this one into my office for a soft ambiance while at work, another easy, inexpensive way to add a personal touch to an area that we spend so much of our time. I found these interesting Easter egg / tulip flower candle holders at my local Goodwill for $4, and the base shape reminded me of these flower candlestick holders I've seen at Anthropologie and other high-end retailers. I knew I would be able to add on to them to get a similar look. You could even recreate this using the Dollar Tree candlestick holders, but I first spray painted both of them in a champagne gold color to match the base of my inspiration images. I honestly could have left them just like this for a similar look to the Anthropologie version, but I didn't care for the engraved designs on the sides. I wanted the tops to look more like a flower. So I got out my air dry clay, which I keep in an airtight container inside of Ziploc bags to keep it from drying out. And I have 2 different types of air dry clay here, and I wanted to see which would turn out better. I have porcelain clay and the more traditional Sculpey air dry clay. I've used porcelain clay one other time. It is actually incredibly smooth and it doesn't crack as it dries. I really enjoy working with this one, and both flower versions turned out stunning. Porcelain clay just turns out so smooth, like I said. The only downside was the petals didn't stay upright as it had dried, and they had folded over more than the other clay. So I would say this clay doesn't fully hold the shape that you put it in. But the Sculpey clay definitely shows more lumps and bumps and imperfections. I do like how the petals held their shape on this one, so I guess there are pros and cons to each. Let me know if you've ever tried the porcelain clay and what you think. I covered up the base of the candle holders with a bag to spray paint the clay, and I just spray painted them off-white because I mostly wanted the center to be the same color. Faux plants can be so expensive for larger ones. High-end retailers charge hundreds of dollars, and even stores like Home Depot or Walmart, you're paying well over $100 for a realistic-looking lush faux plant. So I always keep my eye out for faux plants at the thrift stores, and every once in a while I will find a really nice faux plant at my Goodwill. This one looks like a parlor palm, and it is pretty large. It didn't come with any type of pot or base, it just was inside of a plastic bag, but I knew I had plenty of options to put it in at home. This plant only cost $6.50. That is like 95% off. Such a great find. I've had this large wicker basket that I thrifted a few years ago that looked like it would fit the proportions of my new faux plant. However, the opening to the basket was just a little bit smaller than the base of my plant.
Of course it's too wide.
Fortunately, the previous owner used spray foam and rocks to weigh this down, so I was able to cut it down to size. And I will say this was such a smart idea to make the plant more bottom heavy. Then after I did all that work and made a mess of my kitchen, I remembered I had another basket option with a wider mouth. One side of it was fraying a little bit, but the other side was pristine, and I loved the variety of color of this one. It fits my living room a little bit better. I must have broken one of the stems while moving this plant around. It wouldn't stay upright anymore, so if you ever come across this, it's an easy fix. I used floral tape to wrap it around and attached it to another stem so it would stay upright. Then I did have to add in a few plastic bags to keep it from leaning to one side in the basket. And if you're concerned about cleaning something like this coming out of the thrift store, don't be. I like to use a steamer, which not only helps disinfect the faux plant, but also can help fix any bent or folded leaves. This one isn't necessarily a high-end dupe, although you can certainly find these stunning end grain cutting boards in high-end retailers like Williams-Sonoma. But I find cutting boards while thrifting all of the time, and I'm always looking for different and unique ones. This one is a bit too small to resurface and use as an actual cutting board, so instead I'm using it as a little decorative tray riser. And there's my little brown chinoiserie planter that I mentioned earlier. Along those same lines of the cutting board, I found this live edge wood decor piece at an antique shop, though I have absolutely no idea what this square hole in the back of it was for. If you know what this was, please let me know in the comments. After I finished editing this video, I actually saw a similar live edge clock while thrifting for an upcoming video, so I wonder if that's what mine started out as. But again, I'm using this as a decorative riser. Make sure you're subscribed to see more high-end home decor on a budget, and I'll see you in the next one.